That's right, I've bought a Lenovo Legion Go 2 for you. Well, not quite, but I've been having so many questions about the Lenovo Legion Go 2, especially compared to the Xbox Ally X, which I'm also extremely hyped about. But Lenovo just do not reply to us. We just cannot get through to them. They don't want to know anything to do with us. So I thought, well, I'm just going to buy one. And that way I can finally answer all of your questions and even the questions I have myself as to, is it worth such a high cost, as well as other questions that I'll be talking about in this video. But because Lenovo don't care about us, here's a word from our sponsor, UGREEN. UGREEN have released a new range of MagFlow products utilized with the new Apple phones and the new Google Pixel 10 Pro. Just by chance, I just so happened to upgrade to the new Google Pixel 10 Pro, and I can confirm this works absolutely perfectly. The MagFlow 2-in-1 magnetic wireless charger is great for my desk setup. I've actually been using this for a little while now, and it charges at the full 25 watts, and it's MagSafe compatible, and I'm using a mouse case which has MagSafe on it, and it still charges at that 25 watts. And the same goes with their new magnetic wireless power bank, which is 10,000 milliamp hour, and it's still QI2 certified at 25 watts, MagSafe compatible. These products are absolutely amazing, and there's so much more. And it's really funny because I've been using UGREEN products for absolutely years now, just by personal choice. So when they wanted to sponsor the channel, we were all for it. Go check out the UGREEN products in the link in the description. Right, so obviously I wasn't the only person that was a little bit disappointed by the lack of a screen upgrade on the Xbox Ally X, right? It's using the same screen as the OG Ally and the Ally X, so we're not really getting any change there. We're getting loads of other big performance increases and redesigned ergonomics and all that good stuff, but everyone was wanting a bigger screen. Everyone was wanting at least an 8-inch screen like the MSI A8, which we should be getting hands-on as well with, so make sure you subscribe. But then Lenovo dropped the big guns. They dropped an 8.8-inch, 144 hertz OLED VRR with HDR 1000. That alone is one of the biggest upgrades that loads of people were waiting for. Just an OLED screen, let alone the fact that it's VRR. We're going to discuss this in a second, but that screen upgrade alone, I know is enough for people to want to be pushing to upgrade from their Ally X's, their OG Allies, and any other handheld device, maybe Z1 Extreme device that they've been wanting, right? This screen alone is ridiculous, but there's other things as well that just make this insane, like 32 gig of RAM. 32 gig of RAM at 8,000 mega transfers. That's a lot. That means we can have 16 gigabytes to system and 16 gig VRAM. That's ridiculous. That means we're going to be able to push textures really high and maybe even be pushing ray tracing. Who knows? I'm going to have to test it. These are some things that I've been wanting to test and that I wanted to buy one of these for personally to test and show all of you guys because it is such a big expense. Lenovo's just gone balls to the wall here with the price. It's extortionate. It really, really is. But I want to see if it's actually worth it for you guys that are extremely on the edge, because I'm getting messages constantly saying, should I just get the Lego 2? We do have the Z2 Extreme here as well as an option. You can get the Z2, which is just a rebrand of the Z1 Extreme, which is cheaper, but I went with the Z2 Extreme model. Now, I actually went and downgraded it on the Lenovo website. So I chose a Z2 Extreme and bought a 512 gigabyte drive. So it saved me £100, probably like $150, something like that, to downgrade it to a 512, because I've actually already pulled out my 2 terabyte drive from my Ally X, which I'm going to put into the Legion Go 2, then just upgrade it myself. So I've saved money that way. But of course, if you don't want to do that yourself, then you can just opt to get the 1 terabyte model or the 2 terabyte model, but you're going to pay for it. Now, I do want to mention as well, obviously, this is not the AI variant of the Z2 Extreme. This is just the straight up Z2 Extreme. So we're not going to get any hardware upscaling, Auto SR that the Xbox Ally X is going to get or anything like that. This is just the stock model, but it is already an up to 30% improvement over the Z1 Extreme when you're comparing like 17 watts. I think at like maxed out, let's just take 25 watts versus Z1 Extreme to Z2 Extreme. It's only about a 10% increase in improvement, like performance. It's not that much, but 17 watts, 18 watts, up to 30%. That's actually really good because that's going to give you a load of battery life saved. and also really good performance at that wattage. So that is where this is really lying here, is the improvement in efficiency. Now, another thing that actually surprised me was when Lenovo confirmed that they're going to get Xbox FSE, which we always call Xbox OS. It's not, it's just Windows 11, but in collaboration with Xbox, right? If you've been following the Xbox Ally stuff, you'll know about this, and we've covered it loads on the channel. But Xbox FSE, full screen experience, is coming to the Lenovo Legion Go 2 next year. They said spring next year. So basically, the Xbox the Ally is going to get like a 6 months exclusivity by the look of it, and then it's going to roll out to other devices. So we will see that come to the Legion Go 2. Obviously, I'll test that when that comes out, and that's going to save even more RAM because there's about a 2 gig of RAM saving there. So we can have like 14 gigs to system and 18 gigs to VRAM, which is going to be ridiculous. So it is coming. So I'm actually quite excited about that. Now, we know it weighs a lot. It's like 1,000 grams. I've been seeing people on Reddit that have already got theirs already, and they're like 940 grams around that. So it's going to be super heavy. They've redesigned the ergonomics and everything from the Legion Go 1. So it actually looks more comfortable, but at that size and weight, is it really going to be comfortable? It's something I'm going to have to test out. Is it going to be ergonomic? Do the like Joy-Cons on either side like actually fit well, or are they loose? These are questions that I want answers to. But one thing that I'm actually surprised about, Lenovo did a Q&A on Reddit, even though they decided not to answer like the majority of questions. They did actually answer someone when they asked about driver support, because the original Legion Go 1 had pretty poor driver support from Lenovo, right? And it took ages for drivers to roll out. And someone asked, are you going to be doing the drivers again, or is AMD? And Lenovo actually replied and said, nope, AMD are handling the updates this time, so it won't be Lenovo. So hopefully that means we'll get much faster rollouts of drivers and updates on the Legion Go 2 versus the 1, which was an issue before. But of course, the thing I'm excited the most about personally, not only the RAM increase here, is that screen. OLED, 144 Hertz VRR, HDR 1000, like 8.8 inch. This is ridiculous. Going from the Steam Deck LCD to the Steam Deck OLED was a major jump. It felt like a whole new system, even though it is exactly the same pretty much. The screen alone means a lot. It's the thing that you look at, right? So it really is a big thing. And I've got so many questions, like so many questions, but supposedly, right, they've actually made this custom. So they've had this custom built just for the Legion Go 2s. And it's now landscape. The Legion Go 1 had a portrait screen turned over. So it actually meant that you'd get vertical screen tearing. Didn't even have VRR, the Legion Go 1. Look, like, yeah, no thank you. But this one is a native horizontal screen, so a landscape screen, right? And that means screen tearing is going to be correct, like left to right, so horizontally. But also it means maybe they fixed VRR Flicker. Now, before I want to talk about VRR Flicker, I just want to talk about the variable refresh rate window. Because generally what we see on these handhelds is a VRR window between 48 to 120, right? And then below that, you get low frame rate compensation. So like, let's take the ROG Ally, the Ally X, and the new Xbox Allies. They've all got the same screen, and they are 48 to 120 hertz VRR window, and below that you get low frame rate compensation. However, I'm seeing going around a lot online, but I can't really confirm. I can't see any official statement here, but apparently the Legion Go 2 is actually a VRR window from 30 to 144 hertz. Now that's actually massive. Like that is a big thing, because a lot of games you're going to be running between sort of 30 and upwards. The previous window, like starting at 48, that already means you need quite good performance to start with before VRR is actually in play and not just using low frame rate compensation. So having VRR start at 30 all the way up to 144 is going to actually make a huge difference. I don't know, though, if it's got low frame rate compensation below that. So I'm not sure. This is exciting in on itself. Now, OLED obviously is amazing. HDR as well, 1000 is going to be absolutely incredible. It's a 500 nits display, but it should go up to 1000 nits in HDR, right? But we've banged on a lot about OLED VRR Flicker. It's a thing. If you don't know about it, go look it up or go watch multiple videos that we've got about OLED VRR Flicker. Let me just explain how this works. So OLED VRR Flicker comes into play with lower end devices, right? So these handhelds are low powered, and that means you can't have a stable, consistent frame rate. So let's just take 100 FPS. Say a game's hitting 100 FPS on average, but the 1% lows are, let's say, 50, right? It's got to jump from 100 down to 50, to 100 to 50, and it's constantly fluctuating 50 FPS. That huge fluctuation causes gamma flickering in OLED panels, only in dark areas, not in bright areas. So if you only play like happy, bright games, you're not actually going to be affected. But if you like horror games and stuff, which excel on OLED screens, this might be an issue. And I say might because I can't tell you whether or not it will. Generally, the only way to get around OLED VRR Flicker is to have a more powerful system, so upgrade your graphics card. So let's say that you've got that 100 FPS, but your 1% lows are now 90. You've only got a 10 FPS difference. That flickering is no longer 50 FPS to jump between. Then it doesn't affect, right? So you don't get OLED VRR flickering then. The only other way is to turn it off. So to disable VRR entirely, and that means capping games at 60. So let's say you're averaging games at 75 FPS, but your 1% lows are really low. You would go, okay, I'm going to cap the game at 60 now. So there's almost like no fluctuation, right? That then gets around it. But effectively, you've just disabled VRR, which is not what we want. We're wanting this feature that we're paying extortionate amounts for, right? However, I am a little bit hopeful because I've been trawling a lot of videos online where random people have got them or just demonstrations from Lenovo themselves, and I'm not actually seeing anything in any gameplay. And I've got quite an eye for this because I've experienced it myself on multiple different panels, right? But I'm not seeing it happening. So it fills me with confidence that maybe it is true that they've got a custom screen made for this. So maybe they've got around it because not every OLED panel suffers from this. Some of the really top end like MSI screens don't suffer from this, and some other random panels don't suffer from this either. So if this is a custom made screen, which is why the price of the Legion Go 2 is so high, maybe they fixed it, or maybe they're just pushing it out and good luck to you, if you have flickering, then sort it out yourself. I don't know, and this is one of the biggest questions I want answered because this is the most expensive handheld you can get. Yes, I know there's Neos and all the other random super niche brands out there that pump out handhelds every day of the week. I'm not talking about them. When I say most expensive, I'm talking about big companies, bricks and mortar, bought handhelds here, so don't confuse that. But yeah, so this is a very expensive device that is going to be in the eyes of most people. And I want to see if this is actually going to affect. Now, arguably, even if it suffers from VRR flicker, it's probably not the end of the world because you just cap a game and you no longer have flicker anymore and you still get the benefits of OLED, right? Rather than dealing with the same screen that you've been dealing with for years now that's an LCD. OLED alone is a huge upgrade, but the VRR flickering is my number one question I want answered. And I'm super intrigued to see what it's like and just ultimately to find out, is this thing actually worth paying this much money for? Because it's extremely expensive, like I said. Is it actually worth it? Is it comfortable? Is the build quality good? Is the performance good? Are the drivers stable? Does it suffer OLED VRR flickering? There's so many questions that I want answered, and I want you to give me all your questions down in the comments because as soon as I get this thing, videos are going to start coming out. Yes, we are getting the Xbox Ally X from Asus. We're getting it lent to us, not given. It will go back eventually, and the same goes for the MSI A8. They are lending it. No idea how long for. I imagine not very long. So I'm going to have to do a lot of tests here to compare all of them, but let me know all your questions down below. The final thing is, I can't tell you when I'm going to get it because I ordered this in the UK, which weirdly launched before the rest of the world. So I know in America, it's the 25th or the 31st of October next month that it comes out. But here in the UK, it actually launched on the 12th of September or something. People already have them in the UK. Go look at Reddit. People already have them. I ordered it on the 10th, right? And it said 6 to 9 days shipping. That then flipped to the 25th or 24th of October. So that was a 6 weeks difference. I've contacted Lenovo and they've promised me that it will get sent tomorrow. I don't know whether or not that's true, because I'm also seeing on Reddit this morning that other people were promised today for shipping dates and it's already flipped and they've said, no, sorry, you're going to have to wait until next month. So there's a chance I could have it next week, but equally there's a chance that it could be like 6 weeks from now. I don't know. I'll have to keep you guys updated. Make sure you subscribe if you want to, find out more. Let me know all your questions down below. And whilst you're down there, like this video, subscribe, and you can chat to us over on our private Discord. And I'll see you in the next one whilst I'm eagerly awaiting this handheld that I've personally spent a lot of money on for you guys. So I hope you appreciate it. Bye.